Think back. Try to remember.
Hey guys, I'm back. So when I made my previous video about Death's Dynamic Shroud, I thought it was a fun little one-off into vaporwave territory, you know, just something to share with my friends who may or may not be familiar with the genre. But as it turns out, it got a little more attention than that. I shared it on r/vaporwave, and the folks there really seemed to enjoy it. I got 20 new subscribers in just the first 2 days. It's sitting at 500 some views. And Tech Honors, one of the members of Death's Dynamic Shroud, actually tweeted about it. So that's kind of nuts. Oh, by the way, I would like to issue a correction from that last video. I called James Webster HCMC. His name is HCMJ. I'm sorry about that, James. Please forgive me. So yeah, since the video got a surprising amount of attention, I am absolutely going to do a follow-up where I cover more DDS music. I would like to cover all of DDS's music eventually. But in this video, I'm going to be covering something else in the meantime, just for the sake of variety. Okay? Cool? Cool. So yeah, last week, obviously, we talked about one of the glitchiest, most heavy-hitting vaporwave groups out there, and it was quite the thrill ride. And you know what? I need a little bit of a breather. I mentioned last week that a lot of vaporwave artists have kind of more of a relaxing, subdued sound to them. And I'll put it to you that more relaxing does not mean less interesting. And I'd like to prove it to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk about 2814. Okay, as I've mentioned on Reddit, the album I was planning on covering today was Birth of a New Day. However, in covering said album, I happened to notice that 2814 just put out a new album, like a couple days ago at the time of recording. So, I couldn't resist. I had to jump over and cover that album instead. Just for the sake of relevancy, you know? I will cover Birth of a New Day at some point, because I like it a lot and I do want to talk about it. But for now, we're going to talk about their newest material, if that's okay with you. Okay, that should be all the clarifications out of the way. Let's get right into it. I'm still kind of working out the format of these reviews, so bear with me. I'm just going to go track by track, give my thoughts on each track, and then general thoughts at the end. So 2814's new album is called Lost Fragments, and it's kind of a collection of remastered versions of B-sides and rare songs that they've done in the past, as well as, I believe, a couple new songs. Feel free to correct me on that if I'm wrong. And it starts off more or less like you'd expect. The first track is a lot of ambient droning. It kind of sets the mood and the atmosphere of, like, robots or some shit. It's a great mood piece, and it's definitely a good opening to the album. It just gets you feeling the aesthetic, you know? And from there, it transitions into a slightly more fleshed out track, Arcadia, and I like this one a lot. It adds some Japanese vocals into the mix, which is a thing that 2814 likes doing, and it actually adds a bit of a beat, and just the way the bassy hits just kind of slide into the mix is just super satisfying, at least to me. And as it goes on, it continues to add more complex lead melodies, and the way it all comes together is just mwah. And then the next track is 16 minutes long. I know 2814 tends to do long songs, but this is definitely quite long for a vaporwave mix. It kind of slowly transforms and shifts over the course of the whole song while still keeping more or less the same beat throughout. It works pretty well for like the first 10 minutes or so, but I think it kind of overstays its welcome after that. It doesn't really ever get annoying, but I kind of found myself checking out for the last portion of the song. So yeah, good track, perhaps a little too long. Luckily, the next track, New Age, kind of picked things up a bit. It kicks off with an instantly enjoyable beat that kind of reminds me of like traditional Japanese music a little bit, so that was kind of neat. And then it hits you with some extremely nice synth tones. I love the sound of the synth in this song. It's amazing. And it just stays cool throughout the whole track. It's very, very nice. Okay, let's move on to the next track. And I hope you've enjoyed these nice, relaxing songs, because things are about to get
Spooky.
Droning City is kind of freaky. It's got the same quiet atmosphere of the songs before it, but with the creepy levels increased significantly. It's like a horror-tinged cityscape type song, and it would not feel at all out of place in a horror movie, and I like that. I like being scared. Please more. Moving on, Triad keeps up with Droning City's kind of city ambience, and lays off on the scary aspect a little bit, and kind of moves more into like the, mysterious. I don't know what that was. It's supposed to indicate mystery, I guess. It's kind of got like a cinematic noir feeling to it. It's really cool. I like it a lot. And it hits surprisingly hard for a 2814 track. Most of these tracks are mostly ambient, but this one, like, it really gets you a little bit, and I enjoyed that a lot. Now, there's nothing particularly special about Before Contact. It's another nice ambient droning song, but it's, you know, it just sounds like a UFO, and that's more or less it throughout the entire track. If you're looking at this album as something that you just want to have on in the background, it's inoffensive at the very least, but if you're trying to like analyze this album on any sort of critical level, it works as a mood piece, but not much else. So it's probably fine, but I personally would have preferred something a little more sonically interesting. Speaking of sonically interesting, we've got Eyes of the Temple, Acoustic. What does an acoustic vaporwave song sound like? Well, apparently it sounds like a 2814 song being played in a cave. I guess it means acoustic as in like the acoustics of the ambience of a cave with the water and reverberation, I guess. Slightly confusing title aside, it's a really neat track, and it plays very well into the next track, Impact, which carries on with like the water trickling noise but builds it into something a little more concrete. And the beat of this track is really, really sick. I like it a lot. These two tracks work as a great pairing. There's like the intro, which is kind of ambient, and then it kicks off into the beat of the next track. And yeah, the two together work really, really well. Overall, I'm kind of surprised at how well a lot of these tracks kind of flow together, seeing as how they are just like random tracks from different eras of 2814's music. Like, they were able to stitch them together really, really well, and I appreciate that. Okay, we're nearly done. On to the 10th and final track. It's another very, very long one. Let's see how it compares to the last one.
2 hours later.
I think by this point the album was kind of losing my attention a little bit. I mean, it is a pretty nice track, but it doesn't really bring anything new to the table, and it goes on for a long time. I mean, it's a fitting closer, and I kind of like the way in which it bookends the album. The first song is like just ambient, like synthetic noise, and then this song ends with ambient nature noise. It ends with the sounds of a jungle. And yeah, it's a good closer, good bookend, but yeah, that's about it. And well, that's it. It went a little quicker than I was expecting. I've listened to the whole album, so what do I think? Well, it was pretty good. While it's not quite as tight as I would like it to be, it's still a great, like, ambient album, and there are definitely some good tracks that I've added to my ongoing Vaporwave playlist, so I would very comfortably give it a 7 out of 10. I don't know if I'm going to keep rating albums, but 7 out of 10 feels right for me. I mean, whatever. The thing I like about 2814 is they have a really good knack at creating such a beautiful ambience. It is definitely mood music, and it invokes images of, like, driving through a neon-lit city at night possibly in the rain. And I think that's a feeling and an aesthetic that a lot of vaporwave artists are trying to emulate. And 2814, they pull it off flawlessly. Like, they make it sound effortless, even though I'm sure a lot of effort was put into this album. You know, their smooth production and their perfect mixing. Like, that cannot be stated enough. This album sounds very beautiful. And the production is very clean. And I don't think I mentioned that enough. It's a very, very, very well-produced album. It kind of overstays its welcome in a few places, especially if you're an impatient person like me. And that's not really an objective criticism. It's more or less just a subjective thing that you should probably be aware of. So I definitely recommend this album if you're into ambient vaporwave. I think it is a great ambient vaporwave album. Though if you don't feel like you have the patience for, say, 16 minutes of ambient noise, then I don't think this album will be for you. Anyway, I am super excited to be talking about a brand new album. It is, I didn't think I would get this opportunity so soon, so I'm happy about it. And I definitely can't wait to talk about more 2814 in the future. And that's about it. I wanted this video to be a little more focused than the last one, hence why I only reviewed one album instead of, like, kind of two in the last one. Have you been listening to Lost Fragments? What do you think? Let me know in the comments, please. I would love to hear another take on this album. I want to know what the community thinks about it. Anyway, this has been AltPanda. I hope you have a good day. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you later. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to include a little segment at the end here where I plug my other YouTube content because I've actually gotten some new viewers recently, and I kind of wanted it to be known that I do more than just this. I put this conveniently at the end of the video, so if you don't give a shit about it, you don't have to sit through it. I got your back. Anyway, I won't get too annoying with it, I swear. First off, check out Wheels and Friends. It's a channel run by a lovely New Hampshire man named Wheel Justice. He's doing a series called The Nintendo Journey, where he plays and reviews every single Nintendo game ever. Yeah, it's kind of a big task. I do my own show on the same channel called Sega Journey, where I do basically the same thing, but with, you guessed it, Sega games and other related media. Definitely go check that channel out. Wheels loves what he does and definitely deserves more attention. Secondly, I do a podcast called Purple Panda with a friend of mine. The most recent episode is hosted on this channel, but the rest is over on its own channel. We talk about movies, music, games, basically whatever media the two of us consume and want to discuss. It's pretty chill. You'll probably like it. Lastly, I've got a series called A24 Quest. Once again, the latest episode is up on this channel, but the rest is on the Purple Panda channel. It's definitely the most niche thing I do, but it's a series specifically devoted to reviewing movies from the distribution company A24. You know, Hereditary, Ex Machina, Moonlight, Disaster Artist, stuff like that. I do it with the same guy I do the podcast with, and it's a lot of fun. Go check it out. So yeah, if for whatever reason the sound of my voice doesn't irritate you, I would recommend checking these things out. Or don't. Like, it's whatever, you know? You do you. Anywho, have a good day. See you next time.